Welcome to Fun Facts Daily, your source for just the good stuff. Monday through Friday, we're bringing fun facts and news you can use, all carefully curated to uplift and inform. So give yourself a break, relax, and learn something awesome in just a few minutes every day. Hi everyone, I'm Kyle Wood, and today we're going to be learning all about the fascinating ancient city of Pompeii. But before we get into the facts, let's warm up our brains with a little challenge to see if you can tell truth from fiction. Consider this. When people talk about Pompeii, it often sounds like instant, total doom. We tend to think the eruption happened so suddenly and violently that the citizens had absolutely no warning. One minute they're eating lunch, and the next the entire population was wiped out, with zero survivors to tell the tale. It's a dramatic story, but is it accurate? What do you think? We'll find out at the end of the episode. Now for your word of the day. Our word for today is Plinian. That's Plinian. In the world of geology and volcanology, a Plinian eruption refers to a specific type of volcanic eruption that's incredibly explosive. These eruptions are characterized by columns of volcanic debris and hot gases that shoot high into the stratosphere, often resembling a massive umbrella pine tree. Rather than just oozing lava, a Plinian eruption blasts ash, pumice, and gas miles into the sky, which then rains down over a vast area. The term was actually coined as a reference to Pliny the Younger, a Roman administrator and poet who witnessed the eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79 CE from across the Bay of Naples. He wrote two famous letters to the historian Titus describing the disaster in vivid detail, including the terrifying mushroom cloud shape of the explosion. Since his description was the first detailed written account of such an event, scientists named this violent style of eruption in his honor. Time for your daily high five, our top 5 fun facts about Pompeii. Number 1. The citizens of Pompeii didn't actually know they were living next to a volcano. Vesuvius had been dormant for about 1,800 years. The locals just thought it was a regular mountain. The fertile soil on the slopes was excellent for farming, so the area was densely populated with vineyards and luxury villas without anyone realizing the danger that was bubbling up under the ground. It wasn't until the ground started shaking and the mountaintop literally blew off that they realized the danger that they were in. There was one major clue that the ancient Romans did miss, though. It was a massive earthquake that struck the region about 62 CE, 17 years before the eruption. This quake caused significant damage to the city's temples and infrastructure, but the citizens just repaired the buildings and carried on, thinking it was a routine weather event rather than a warning of impending volcanic activity. When Vesuvius finally did erupt in 79 CE, many buildings were actually still undergoing renovations from that earlier earthquake. Number 2. Ancient Pompeii had a thriving culture of sort of fast food restaurants. Archaeologists have excavated over 150 establishments called thermopolia, which were essentially burger joints or snack bars of the ancient world. Many regular homes in Pompeii didn't have full kitchens, so people would go to these counters to buy hot, ready-to-eat food like lentils, meat, and cheese served from large clay jars embedded directly into the counter. Recent excavations have revealed incredible details about what was actually on the menu at these snack bars, including traces of pork, fish, snails, and beef found at the bottom of the jars. One particularly well-preserved thermopolium discovered in 2020 even had bright, colorful frescoes painted on the counter facing the street to act as a sort of illustrated menu. The paintings included images of mallard ducks and a rooster, likely advertising the fresh ingredients that were available at the time. Number 3, Pompeii shows us that graffiti on city walls goes back millennia. The people of Pompeii used red and black paint to scrawl graffiti all over the city walls. Archaeologists have found thousands of messages preserved in the plaster, ranging from official election notices and advertisements for gladiator games to simpler messages like, "I made bread" or "so and so was here," and even messages sending love to a crush. The walls served as a sort of public forum for reviews and political campaigning, much like modern review sites or election billboards. Archaeologists have found complaints about tavern owners watering down wine, endorsements for local politicians running for magistrate, and even caricatures of famous people. In at least one case, it would seem someone wrote on the wall of a gladiatorial barrack, making fun of a specific fighter, showing trash talk in sports seems to go way back. This writing on the walls gives us an incredibly intimate and human look at the daily lives of ordinary people who were living in Pompeii at the time. They complained, joked, and gossiped just like we do today. Number 4. Pompeii was lost and basically forgotten for over 1,500 years. After the eruption in 79 CE, the city was buried under so much ash and debris that it completely disappeared from the map, and its location was eventually forgotten by history. It wasn't until the 16th century that an architect named Domenico Fontana stumbled upon some ruins while digging a water channel, but serious excavations didn't begin until the 18th century. While the volcanic eruption was incredibly destructive, it also helped to preserve Pompeii. Because it was sealed so tightly by the ash, the buildings, art, and objects were protected from air and moisture, preserving them as a near-perfect time capsule for centuries. Interestingly, for all those centuries that Pompeii was lost and more or less forgotten, the locals actually referred to the hill covering the ruins as La Civita, which would translate to the city. When systematic excavation finally began under the orders of the King of Naples in 1748, they were astonished to find loaves of bread still in ovens and fruit still in bowls, perfectly carbonized. This accidental preservation provided historians with a level of detail about ancient Roman daily life that no other site on Earth has ever given us. And our fifth and final fun fact for today: the eruption of Mount Vesuvius preserved a library of burnt scrolls that we're just now learning how to read. In the neighboring town of Herculaneum, the eruption buried a massive villa containing hundreds of papyrus scrolls, which were instantly carbonized by the intense heat. For centuries, these scrolls looked like basically just lumps of black charcoal, and the prevailing wisdom was that any attempt to physically open them would cause them to crumble into dust. They sat in storage for years. It was a classic sort of catch-22 situation where any attempt to open them up and read them to gain greater insights into history would destroy them and prevent us from being able to read them and destroy the very insights we were hoping to gain. In the past few years, though, scientists launched a Vesuvius challenge using high-tech X-ray scanning and artificial intelligence to virtually unroll the scrolls without ever touching them. This incredible technology has already begun to reveal new philosophical works by Epicurean thinkers, allowing us to read words that haven't been seen by human eyes in almost 2,000 years. Scholars believe that as the AI improves, these charred lumps might eventually double the amount of literature we have from the ancient world. Now for some news you can use. Since I mentioned Pliny the Younger and his famous letters today, my tip is to be the historian in your own life. Pliny's letters are the only reason we know exactly what the eruption looked like and how people reacted. Without his writing, that history would be lost. Now, today, we take a lot of photos, but we often forget to write down the context or write about our feelings about what happened. try keeping a simple journal or adding detailed captions to your digital photo albums. Years from now, those little details about what the weather was like, what you were eating, who you were with, and what you were doing will all be much more valuable to you than just the image alone, because it gives you a much more complete story to share with family and friends. Now for the moment you've been waiting for. At the beginning of the episode, I asked, did Vesuvius strike instantly, destroying everyone and everything in Pompeii with no survivors? That's a fallacy. While the eruption was catastrophic, it wasn't instant. Vesuvius actually gave several warning signs, including earthquakes, and the eruption itself took place over nearly 24 hours, giving many people time to flee. In fact, a recent study by the historian Steve Tuck proved that there were survivors by tracking Roman family names. He found that distinct Pompeian names suddenly appeared on records in nearby communities like Naples and Cumae right after the eruption, proving that many refugees managed to escape, resettle, and rebuild their lives elsewhere. Also, historical records show that the Emperor Titus actually sent government officials to the region to organize relief efforts and diverted money from the estates of those who died with no heirs to help the survivors build new homes. This shows that not only did people survive, but the Roman Empire launched a massive, organized refugee aid program. Now, I hope you enjoyed learning a bit about Pompeii with me today. Be sure to tune in every weekday for even more fun facts. Fun Facts Daily is an Airwave Media podcast. It was written, recorded, mixed, and edited by me, Kyle Wood. Thanks for sharing a part of your day with me. Be sure to follow Fun Facts Daily on your favorite podcast app so you can keep the good stuff coming your way every day. And if you like the show, please do me a favor and leave a kind rating, review, or just tell your friends about it.